It's Monday, August 19th, 2024. Embracing Kamalammunism, making the great replacement theory great again, and Don Lemon goes to Jersey. Next on the AM Update. A lot of presidential political news to get to, but first, the U.S. Supreme Court sided against the Biden administration's request to reinstate part of its rule change on sexual identity in colleges and public schools. In April, Joe Biden changed the regulations in Title IX to include protections for LGBTQ plus students, whatever those are, but a number of states filed a lawsuit to challenge his unilateral action. The Biden administration was requesting that the rule be partially reinstated until the court can make a final decision, but the court disagreed and allowed the states to continue restricting implementation of the rules until the matter is settled. The decision was passed 5-4, just a one-vote margin, with Justice Neil Gorsuch joining the lefty justices in their dissent. While they disagreed on the parts of the ruling and the request from the Biden administration, all of the justices agreed on the central parts of the order. Kamala Harris unveiled her economic vision for the United States. Here it is in 4 parts.
Our country has come a long way since President Biden and I took office. A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. And I know what home ownership means. And sadly, right now, it is out of reach for far too many American families. So now is the time to chart a new way forward.
So that is the long and short of it. That's the long and short of Kamala Harris's economic vision for the future in 4 parts. I know, that's very, very funny. Ben, can you say Kamalablity-gook? If I were Donald Trump, I'd just take any one of those 4 clips that I just heard there and just end it with, I'm Donald Trump and I approve this message. But what really caught the ire of a lot of people across the political spectrum, heck, we had multiple op-eds from the Washington Post. We had talking heads on CNN talking about this. Kamala Harris wants to go full Kamalammunism.
Prices are still too high. A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%. Many of the big food companies are seeing their highest profits in 2 decades. And while many grocery chains pass along these savings, others still aren't. Look, I know most businesses are creating jobs, contributing to our economy, and playing by the rules. But some are not. And that's just not right. And we need to take action when that is the case.
There's Kamala Harris kind of beating around the bush a little bit with her plans to basically introduce price controls on food supply. Now, here's what happens when you put price controls on food supplies. Farmers are going to go out of business. That's always happened, no matter where it's been tried. Farmers go out of business, and then scarcity becomes the name of the game. So there's Kamala Harris basically talking about price controls. She rolled that out officially, or at least floated it out officially. Her campaign did ahead of this stop where she unveiled her economic agenda. And now she's kind of beating around the bush there, talking about how she wants to take actions against food suppliers when it comes to prices. I think it's around 1.9% profit margin for the grocery industry last year. Those are not high margins whatsoever. So yeah, the total number of profits might look bigger because of inflation, but Kamala Harris is just lying there. GOP vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance probably had the best line of the weekend about the whole Democrat communist cabal.
Because the American people just don't buy the idea that Kamala Harris, who has been vice president for 3.5 years, is somehow going to tackle the inflation crisis in a way tomorrow that she hasn't for the past 1,300 days. Giving Kamala Harris control over inflation policy, Shannon, it's like giving Jeffrey Epstein control over human trafficking policy. The American people are much smarter than that. They don't buy the idea that Kamala Harris represents a fresh start. She is more of the same. It is doubling down on the failed policies of the Harris administration to give Kamala Harris a promotion rather than to fire her, which is what I think most Americans are going to do on November.
That is Cash Money, J.D. Vance on Kamala Harris's economic vision, comparing firing, putting her in charge of economics of this country, to putting Jeffrey Epstein in charge of human trafficking policy. Yet again, it seems like J.D. Vance is the campaign. He's more on message, more on task, more focused than the top of the ticket. Donald Trump was in Bedminster, New Jersey over the weekend. He held a press conference also talking about the price of groceries. He also discussed immigration.
But basically, we're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to get the energy prices down almost immediately, and we're going to close the border, and we're going to get the crooked ones out, the bad ones out, and we're going to let a lot of people come in, because we need more people, especially with AI coming and all of the different things, and the farmers need, everybody needs. But we're going to make sure that they're not murderers, killers, drug dealers, and the kind of people that we have largely coming in right now.
Now we've gone from the largest deportation operation in history to, we got to let some people in to replace our people. Talk about the great replacement theory and making that great again. Joe Biden was also campaigning in Maryland for Kamala Harris. Here he is talking about something.
Members of Congress, I served in the Senate for 270 years. I know I only look 40, but I'm a little bit older. The longest time I was too damn young, because I was only about 29 when I got elected. Now I'm too damn old.
That was actually kind of funny. To the state of Oklahoma we go, where Education Superintendent Ryan Walters has faced down an attempted impeachment investigation. The Speaker of the House of Representatives in Oklahoma put the kibosh on that last week, but not after or not before a number of Republican legislators in that House signed on to a letter calling for the impeachment of Ryan Walters. He has, of course, committed the crime of actually doing his job and wielding his power effectively. But Ryan Walters wasn't done. Over the weekend, he called on the investigation to continue. He wants himself to be impeached.
We don't need to wait. We do not need to wait on a loft committee. We do not need to wait on an investigation. It is time to start the proceedings immediately. The Speaker wants to impeach me for political advantage in the 2026 governor's race. So then let's start the impeachment proceedings. I am calling on Speaker McCall and Mark McBride to begin their impeachment proceedings Monday. It is time for Oklahomans to have the answers. I have provided them a record amount of information. I continue to provide their offices with a record amount of information and documentation. I want the people of Oklahoma to see everything that my agency is doing. I want the people of Oklahoma to see everything that's being done here in this Capitol. And so I welcome those proceedings to start Monday.
That it takes some chutzpah on another level, overtly calling for your own impeachment investigation just to say, hey, I know where the records are. I know what I'm about. I know I've done nothing wrong. This is all political. And let's just put the record on the table. Let's let everybody see this. Let's let everybody see everything. That takes some balls of steel. ESPN fired Samantha Ponder and Robert Griffin III late last week. The Athletic first reported the shakeup, and ESPN confirmed the news. Ponder was an anchor on Sunday NFL Countdown, and Griffin was an analyst who appeared on multiple shows. Ponder didn't immediately comment on the decision. Griffin joked on X about getting fired on his day off, using a clip from the movie Friday. The decision to fire Ponder sparked most of the outrage on social media. Riley Gaines, the host of Outkick's Gaines for Girls podcast, and former ESPN anchor Sage Steele were among those to defend Ponder. Ponder was among the tiny group of personalities on ESPN who called for fairness in women's sports amid the ongoing debate over men in women's sports. She also defended Kansas City Chiefs Harrison Butker for his faith-based speech at Benedictine College. ESPN has claimed via leaks that these were all budgetary reasons for the firings, but that's not the case at all, in my estimation. Ponder was fired because of her views on women and actually protecting women from men in their sports. And Robert Griffin III was actually not a very huge personality on the network, so it was kind of a sacrificial lamb to provide them a fig leaf to get rid of Ponder. At least that's what it seems like from the outside looking in. Attendees at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago will have the opportunity to receive free vasectomies and abortions blocks away from the proceedings at the United Center. Planned Parenthood of Great Rivers, which operates in parts of Missouri and Illinois, will park its mobile health clinic. I'm not sure if they know what health means. They'll park that mobile clinic near the DNC on August 19th and 20th. That's according to the New York Times. Medicated baby killings are reportedly available on both days, with vasectomies being exclusively offered on Mondays. Appointments with the vasectomy vehicle are in high demand, reportedly, with eager registrants forming a wait list. Those hoping to be sterilized must fill out a Google form providing their name, birth date, and contact information to secure their spot in line. Of course, this is barbaric, heinous, and wicked. But on the other hand, your main political opponents are touting the fact that their main sacraments, their main religious sacraments, are sterilizing themselves and offing their future generations. I don't know, man. If you're scared of that, you probably shouldn't be in this arena. And finally, former CNN host Don Lemon, went to Atlantic City in New Jersey and asked a series of random people on the street their thoughts about Trump versus Harris. Listen to this.
We're here in Jersey, Atlantic City. Who do you support?
Trump. I plead the fifth. Trump for the win.
Tell me why.
I can't really call that right now, but I just feel like she's not good for president. She's good vice, but not for the actual lead role for the country.
Does it have anything to do with being a woman?
No. No, because I feel like women, nah, you're not going to give me that.
Your money's on Harris?
Yeah.
Who do you want?
Trump.
Why don't you like Harris?
She doesn't have any experience.
She's the vice president. She's a senator.
Yeah, no experience. No. She had no experience.
Well, I want Donald Trump. I just feel we need somebody that has a stronger background with the military and the world in general.
She was a prosecutor and an attorney general and a senator and a vice president. You're in a gambling town. Who's your money on?
I'm going to support the Democratic Party, but, Trump looked like he got it in the bag right now.
4 years ago, it was a lot better. I made a lot more money than I do now.
I know you feel that way, but that's not actually what the record shows. The economy is actually better under Biden. No, I'm serious. That's what the facts show.
CNN?
Okay, you know what?
No, that's not because I watch CNN. Trump or Harris?
Trump.
That's who's going to win.
That's who's going to win.
Who you support?
I support Trump. All the people that came to this country legally, it's not fair that they're letting all 10,000 to 15,000 people or 20,000 people here illegally. Have you seen San Diego? Yeah. They're coming off the boats, off the water right here, off the ocean. Did you know Biden was flying them in? You didn't know that?
What do you Canadians think about what's going on here?
We think you're all nuts. We're just watching from afar and just enjoying the show.
So that is former CNN host Don Lemon in Atlantic City, New Jersey, with a series of supposedly random men on street interviews. Now, of course, Lemon, I think his intent was to actually embarrass those Trump supporters, and I think he failed miserably. Of course, telling Trump supporters that actually the record shows that you're a lot better off now economically than you were 4 years ago, that's just gaslighting of the highest degree. And the guy that he interviewed at the end was black, just like Lemon, and actually detailed in great detail the problem with immigration over the last 4 years. He sounded crazy, but basically everything he said was correct. Lemon tried to embarrass Trump supporters there, and I think he failed miserably, actually. What do you think? Let me know at RealAM Update on X. That'll do it for today. Back at it again tomorrow.
I'm in Nakataya. This is the AM Update.